So today's topic is air pollution and its contemporary concern for humans. In the previous class, we have discussed the basic of air pollution. So air pollution can be defined as the presence of toxic chemicals or compounds in the air at levels that pose a human risk. So every country release their own permissible limit standards. So India has certain standard, USA has certain standard of air quality, European countries has certain standard of air quality, and if the extent of air pollution will be more than that standard value, then we will tell that there is some problem there. Air pollution can have short-term and long-term effects. We have seen in the previous class. Short-term effects include irritation to the eyes, nose and throat, and upper respiratory infections such as bronchitis and pneumonia. Long-term health effects can include chronic respiratory disease, lung cancer, heart disease, and even damage to the brain or kidney. Air pollutant can be divided into some categories. On the state of the pollutant, it can be solid, liquid, gas, or air pollutant may be primary air pollutant, a secondary air pollutant we have discussed in the previous class. Basic air pollutants, these are the basic air pollutants we have discussed. Oxide of sulfide, oxide of nitrogen, VOC, particulates, and ozone. Among all these, sulfur dioxide and nitric oxide are examples of primary air pollutant, and ozone is example of secondary air pollutant. Now, what is this toxic air pollutants? This is one of the type of air pollutant which is very dangerous. So these air pollutants can cause serious health problems in humans. For example, they can cause cancer, they can cause birth defects, they can cause some problem in reproductive as well as respiratory systems. Few examples of toxic air pollutants are benzene. Benzene is one of the common ingredient of gasoline, your petrol, your diesels. Perchloroethylene, it is emitted by dry cleaning facilities, and methylene chloride, which is used as a solvent and paint stripper by a number of industries. Similarly, the problem of cadmium, mercury, chromium, lead, toluene, dioxins, these are also toxic air pollutants. Mercury is one of the problem. Mercury pollution in water or air, especially in if the mercury pollution is in water, then it is very dangerous for aquatic animals because mercury is also poisonous. How are people exposed to air toxics? What are the methods by which toxic can come in our body? So these are very easy points. You can see whether you breathing contaminated air, it can come to our system, our body. Eating contaminated food, drinking water, ingesting contaminated soil, which is usually done by the children's, touching contaminated soil, dust or water. So from these systems, we can get exposed to air toxics. Once toxic air pollutants enter the body, some persistent toxic air pollutant accumulate in body tissues. So some of the air toxics, they are also persistent in nature. So once they will come in our body, it will not go very easily. So this is the air quality standard of India. You see, these are the pollutants. In this column, pollutant has been mentioned. And how it is recorded and for which it is valid. This is the time weighted average. And what should be the concentration, either in the industrial area or in the ecological sensitive areas, isn't it? So you see, sulfur dioxide on the annual basis in the industrial area, it should not be more than 50 microgram per meter cube. In the ecological sensitive areas, it should not be more than 20 microgram per meter cube. Similarly, on the basis of 24 hours, it should not be more than 80 microgram per meter cube. And for ecological sensitive areas, it should not be more than 80 microgram per meter cube. Similarly, you can see we have a list of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter. Particulate matters size less than 10 micrometer, size less than 2.5 micrometer. If the particle size is equal to or less than 10 micrometer, it is written as PM10. So PM10 means those particulate matter whose size is less than 10 micrometer. And PM2.5, it means those particulate matter whose size is less than 2.5 micrometer. So in this slide, you are seeing the standard air quality, which is defined by Indian government for our country. For every state, it may get varied. For every country, it may get varied. For example, you see here, WHO. What is the standard of WHO? I'm showing only for particulate matter. So for PM2.5, WHO recommendation is that annually it should not be more than 10 microgram per meter cube. And for 24-hour mean, it should not be more than 25 microgram per meter cube. But you see, Indian standard for 2.5, it is annually it is 40. And for 24 hours mean, it is 60. So for our country, the standard is something different. And WHO, whatever they have recommended, that is far more less. So from this standard, if you will see, then we have put higher values to define or to categorize the pollution. Similarly, for coarse particulate matter, WHO has recommended some different values and Indian government has recommended some different values. You can see the differences. All countries has their own standard. So what is the risk which is involved? So you see, as you will move from left to right direction for this image, the severity of the problem, the severity of the disease will get increased. So skin rashes, cough, throat irritation, these are temporarily problems, isn't it? And when you will move in this direction, cancer, kidney, liver damage, these are life-threatening problems, and these are more serious. So if you are exposed to less pollution or pollution for a very less duration, then you will have some sort of these type of problem. You may have headache, you may have cough, you may have throat irritation. But if you are exposed to the pollution for a long time, then the severity of problem will increase, isn't it? One have to face some very severe issues related to nervous system, kidney, liver, isn't it? Birth defects, the miscarriage, it may happen. As far as the exposure assessment is concerned, how much we are exposed to the pollution, air pollution. So how the pollution move in our body, you can see this has been shown here with the help of a flow diagram. So first of all, the toxic air pollutant get into the body mainly through breathing. Mainly from breathing. Some of the chemicals may also come from the skins, but maximum it comes from the breathing. Once a pollutant enters the body, it can stay in the lungs, be exhaled, or move into the blood from the lungs, digestive system, or skin. In the blood, it is carried to all parts of the body. Further, the pollutant can be exhaled. It can leave the body in urine, bowel movement, sweat, breastfeeding, or it can be stored in hair, bone, or fat. So this is the consequence when you are exposed to the pollutants, air pollutants. So you will breathe and pollutant will come in your body. From your body, it can get, from your lungs, it will go throughout your body, and it can also come out from your body when you will exhale or you will do some certain activities. Dose response relationship. Broadly, it has been made for two types of, it has been studied for two type of thing. One is for those pollutant which cause cancer, and those pollutant which doesn't cause cancer. So it is for, the relationship is for cancer and for non-cancer effects. The dose response relationship for a specific pollutant describes the association between expose and the observed response. So if you are exposed to the pollutant, we have to also see that what is the dose of it, how much pollutant, what is the concentration of the pollutant. So concentration of the pollutant versus the problem. So in this figure you see that almost dose or the concentration of the problem, concentration of air pollution and cancer response, this is linearly distributed. And Environmental Protection Agency assumes that the relationship between dose and response is a straight line. For each unit of increase in expose, there is an increase in cancer response. But for non-cancer problems, the dose relationship, the dose response relationship varies with pollutant. It depends upon the pollutant. So initially, up to some extent of concentration of air pollutant, there will be no problem. But as the dose or the concentration of air pollutant will increase, the response of the problem, it will increase non-linearly, isn't it? Exposure to air pollution may affect lung health in human adulthood. So it is a study which has been carried out by this Yang et al. In 2020, and it has been notified there that in early ages, if the child or the or the student will get exposed in their early childhood, then there will be certain problems will arise. It may be due to lung. So chronic lung disease can happen in young adulthood. So somebody has the habituate, some nowadays due to change in civilization, and we are calling ourselves next generation people, isn't it? And the habit of smoking, it has increased drastically in young ages. When we smoke, certainly the air pollutant, it is also smoke is an air pollutant. It will go inside our lungs and it can cause serious issues to us. And basically it affects the young children. So one should be very cautious while smoking. So you see, I'm discussing here about the PM 2.5 crisis, isn't it? So what is this PM 2.5? So all those particulate matter whose size, whose diameter is less than 2.5 micrometer. When we compare PM 2.5 and PM 2.10, and if somebody will ask which is more dangerous comparatively, then we have to say PM 2.5 is more dangerous. Why? Because this is small in size, very small in size, and it can come in our body, our lungs, through air. When we take air, PM 2.5, it can come into our body. And it is so dangerous that from one of the WHO report, it has been mentioned that approximately 4.2 million premature death worldwide in 2016. This is a report of 2016. It is happening only due to PM 2.5. So you can extend the problem. It is not of 100, it is not of lakhs. It is a 4.2 million premature death. It is only causing due to PM 2.5 crisis. So this has been known as PM 2.5 crisis. Now, if you will try to understand it from satellite data, satellite-driven PM 2.5 data, so you can see those this blue lines, blue color, it is showing less amount of, or it doesn't have PM 2.5 in the atmosphere. And this brownish patch, this is showing 80 microgram per meter cube of PM 2.5. If you will see the spatial distribution of PM 2.5, then we are seeing that basically this PM 2.5, it is mainly concentrated in developing nations, or which is poor country, isn't it? So you see the upper part of Africa, this is not well developed. You see this portion, you see the portion of India, you see the portion of some part of China. Although some of these countries are developing and they are doing nice, but you also see that the PM 2.5, it is increasing at a very fast rate. So 80 microgram per meter cube approximately you can get here in some part of China, you can get some part of India. So these are basically concentrated in low income countries. Particles with a diameter of 10 microns or less can penetrate and lodge deep inside the lungs. The even more health damaging particles are those with a diameter of 2.5 microns. PM 2.5 can penetrate the lung barriers and enter the blood system. So this PM 2.5 is very dangerous, and it is emitted by each and every type of industry. Whenever you are creating some smoke, some fire, PM 2.5 will come into the atmosphere. Okay. Now, you see, these are some of the problems I am discussing. Some of the research work which has been done by some researcher, and they have come with some conclusion. This is not only blind topics or blind research. That has been done by some good researchers, and they have been published in good journals also. So one of the topic, very burning topic, is the bonfire party, which usually we can see in the farmhouses, in different type of parties. This is a custom to celebrate a bonfire party, isn't it? But if we will go on what is the consequence of this type of bonfire parties, so you go through this small passage. Bonfire night celebration contaminate our air with 100 times more soot than usual. The particles, also known as black carbon, are so small they can penetrate deep into the lungs and cause irritation. Long-term exposure can cause harmful effects on the heart and lungs and contributes to millions of deaths worldwide each year. So this is the news which has been published in Science News, and the research was done by Adams et al. In 2020, and it has been published in Journal of Geophysical Research. So the particles which you are getting, or the aerosol particles which is generated by this bonfire celebration, they are causing problems in nucleating the ices, which finally turns into the precipitation or rainfall. So in other words, you can say that this bonfire party can hamper the precipitation or rainfall of an area. The rainfall of an area may get decreased, or wherever you will get the bad effect of this bonfire party, there will be some concern about the rainfall, isn't it? So this bonfire party is not a good type of celebration. There is another case study from the Himalayan region. It has been done by Kuan et al. In 2020, and the research has been published in Environmental Science and Technology Letters. This is one of the very nice journals in which this research has come. And according to this research, due to burning of fossil fuel, tar balls is created, or it is depositing in the Himalayan atmosphere. What is this tar balls? So basically this is black carbon. Black carbon. So even in the Himalayan atmosphere, where there is no industry, there is no pollution, we assume that in Himalayan region there will be no pollution. There is no industry, no settlement, no human interference. But what is the actual condition? The actual condition is that the Himalaya is also not, it is also affected by the pollution. Himalaya is also not untouched with the pollution. Because air pollution, air has a tendency to move from one point to another point. The pollutant will move with it. So black carbon, which is produced by burning of fossil fuel in the vehicles, in the industries, they may get carried from one location to 100 kilometers it can go. It can even come to the Himalayan regions, and it can hamper the Himalayan atmosphere also. So it was of great concern. Study revealed that about 28% of the thousands of particles in the air samples from Himalayan research station were tar balls. So you can understand the severity. So what you will see in general in Himalayan atmosphere, each and everywhere you will see white colored snow. Everywhere you will see whitish snow. But what is happening? Black carbon, they are going and they are depositing on the ice, and the consequence may be very severe. It is also related to albedo and the warming and melting of ice. It is concerned with everything type of thing. Okay. Now you see one of the research which has been done by Poser In 2020, the paper has been published in 2020, and the research has been done in cardio. The research has been published in cardiovascular research. And according to their research, exposure to air pollution, it is also very dangerous for as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So air pollution is causing death mixed with COVID-19, and it has increased the death due to COVID-19 by 15% worldwide. So about 15% of death worldwide from COVID-19 caused by attributed to long-term exposure to air pollution. PM 2.5 was one of the major causes. So you see, PM 2.5, it is very dangerous. In Europe, the proportion was about 19%. In North America, it was 17%. And in East Asia, it was about 27%. So in East Asia, the problem and the percentage is more because the pollution in air is more here. There is the air pollution is also caused by one of the phenomenon that is known as temperature inversion, isn't it? What is temperature inversion? So basically, the atmospheric temperature decreases with height. We know that. The atmospheric temperature decreases with height. We know that. But sometimes the opposite happens. The bottom of the valley registered colder temperatures than the summits of the mountains. This phenomenon is a consequence of the thermal inversion of temperature. Since mixing does not take place in such cases, whenever the temperature inversion will take place, there will be no mixing. So if there will be no mixing, then pollutant will not able to disperse very easily. So if it is in a particular location, it will get trapped if temperature inversion has taken place. So whenever temperature inversion will take place, then the air pollutant which had the tendency to move from one point to another point, it will not able to move. It will get trapped in a location. For example, it may get trapped in a mountain valley. So if it will get trapped into the mountain valley, the pollutant will not able to move from that valley, and for longer duration, the pollutant will be inhaled by the inhabitant of that place. So all these problems, whether it is 1952 London Great Smog, which has caused, we have discussed in the previous class, whether it is 1966 New York City smog, or whether it is 2019 Beijing smog, all these may have happened due to this temperature inversion. Now, one of the report, it was published by BBC in the newspaper to 1 November 2019. It states that millions of masks distributed to students in gas chamber Delhi. So this report is not of COVID. It was not from the COVID time. It was from 1 November 2019. So at that time also, just 1 year back, you go and you see, when there was no COVID problem, still the government was concerned, and the severity of the air pollution was too much that the government was bound to distribute the mask. And not only 1 or 2 masks, million of masks has been distributed by this Delhi government. Why? Because the concentration of air pollutant, of various air pollutant, they have severely increased into the atmosphere of Delhi. One of the burning topic nowadays, it has been published in Economics Times, and the news has been taken from November 25, 2020. Steep rise in stubble burning increases in Punjab this year. And you know that whenever the Punjab burns the stubble or Haryana burns the stubble, the pollutant or the smoke, it travels from Haryana, Punjab to Delhi and some nearby places also. So it is not only the concern for the Punjab people, it is not only concern for Haryana people, but it is also a concern for all those regions where the smoke is going, or wherever the smoke is dispersing. For all those regions, it is problem. So stubble burning takes place in Punjab, but the government of Delhi start to say that no, you should not burn the stubble because our people is facing a lot of environmental issues, air pollution issues, isn't it? So you can understand up to which extent the pollution can move from one point to another point. The stubble burning issue is so severe, then NASA from the satellite images, they have also captured it. And the image, it has been taken on 30 October 2014. The data has been organized by NASA, and I am showing you that data. You see this red patches, isn't it? This region is almost in Punjab. You see the red patches. It seems that all the Punjab and nearby regions, isn't it? Stubble burning is going on. So this red patches shows the stubble burning, isn't it? So these stubble burning, when it will come into the atmosphere, this can penetrate from one point to another point. It can move from one point to another point. And certainly the nearby areas, it will also get affected by the smoke. Sources of land pollution. So there, as far as the land is concerned, our land is concerned, it may happen from soil pollution. Whenever we give fertilizers, insecticides, herbicides to the soil pollution or the land pollution can happen. It may happen from littering. That means when we throw the garbages here and there in the bus stop, in the nearby soap, isn't it? In picnic parks, we dump the garbage. So that is littering. Broadly, the air pollutant, as far as the nature of chemicals is concerned, it is of four types. One is organochlorines, and there is heavy metal. One is hydrocarbon, and there is butyl pines. Organochemicals or organochlorines is the name for a group of synthetic chemicals which are very stable in the environment. Some of the most infamous organochlorines include DDT. This is very common. DDT is very common. And some of the pesticide and insecticide. Heavy metals, these heavy metals, for example, mercury, cadmium, zinc, these are heavy metals. Hydrocarbons, so basically it is in the form of petroleum products. Butyl teens. So one class of toxic pollutants which has been highlighted as being a risk to the marine biota are the butyl teens. They are dangerous for the marine environment. Butyl teens are extremely toxic, and it can cause growth retardation and reproductive abnormalities in marine organisms even at low concentrations. They are also known to disrupt the immune system of the mammals. So from the point of view of aquatic animals, it is highly dangerous. Ketocaines are at the top of the food chain, so it includes all the dolphin, whales, isn't it? Which are big fishes, and it is at the top of the food chain, and are at the risk from the persistent compounds which accumulate up the food web. Maximum of the pollutant in this category, they may be persistent in nature and they are very dangerous, isn't it? So in the next class, we will discuss about some issues of water pollution. Basically, the water pollution is caused by industrial effluent, mining, and agricultural waste. It has been also caused by sewage disposal and domestic waste. So, okay, thank you for listening.